Today we're going to be talking about the titans of the OCG meta and just how things are shaping up over there. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more OS content. So we're going to be looking at this tier list here. And we're going to be looking at the S and A tiers. We're going to be looking at B below in another video as we're kind of looking at and analyzing what these decks look like to kind of give you some insight as to how the OCG meta has been going. And I just saw a meme the other day looking at, Fiendsmith, and everywhere you look in the OCG, it's just Fiendsmith, Fiendsmith, Fiendsmith. I agree with you, 150%. Looking at your entire S tier, do you notice anything incredibly special about this? Well, maybe the fact that your Snake Eyes variant is playing Fiendsmith, your Yubel Fiendsmith, and of course, is that Rescue Ace with Fiendsmith? Oh, yes it is actually, which is freaking hilarious to be seeing out here that your top 3 strongest rated decks are all checking the Fiendsmith boxes. And I mean, seeing Snake Eyes, seeing Yubel, Phantom Yubel really does change that much of the game. And then to top things off over here, you also have the Snake Eyes, Rescue Ace pile. It is very interesting to see that Rescue Ace has been brought back into the equation for this, which I do like that. Now, down in the A tier, which I would honestly say that this is probably considered 1.5, which is going to put you at Tenpai. Now, if you're going to notice anything here, Tenpai feels incredibly interesting in the OCG. The fact that, they now have the Pobler Turbo Express to, push through these fields is kind of insane. And then you're going to notice the Fire King version of Snake Eyes. Basically, they've taken advantage of the latest manga promo over there and made an attempt to kind of start to adapt their builds towards an inclusion of that, which is pretty good to see. I'm happy to see that. And of course, you also have the secondary Fire King build as well. Both of these builds basically comes down to, how you want to play the better versions of the Fire King cards, kind of get you the best optimal results for what you want to see. And then we have Unchained Fiendsmith over here for the top end of your meta in 1.5. But this is just... The Fiendsmith engine is so toxic in the things that it has basically allowed itself to kind of develop out here in the course of the meta. I'm not all that surprised to be seeing, these major pushes towards needing this package. I am only afraid to see how the TCG is going to adapt towards this engine overall. Now we have some lists to kind of showcase some of these things. We're going to start off over here with our Snake Eyes Fiendsmith list. And looking at this, I mean, there's not a lot of craziness in here. I mean, you build in your Fiendsmith package for what, like 6 cards in the main deck, which, I mean, the whole little engine just gets you a free Lori on the field, get you a free little fusion tucked on back, get you some free extension options, which is honestly the thing that you want to be seeing with this deck. It's all about the extension combo lines that you're able to toggle through. And I also have been seeing a lot more of these builds actually playing Silvera as well. Silvera has definitely developed itself into one of these more interesting cards, I feel like, in the course of the meta. I'm not saying that it's bad, but a lot more people have been choosing to actually opt to play Silvera. You do see the summon limits down there as well, being one of those fantastic cards that the OCG still gets to play with. Very, very interesting. Now, your Yubel variants. Yubel has evolved with, you're still playing the mini Unchained package in here, because it's like a nice little 1-card pop of Yubel. Continue on through your play. You do play the 1 Terror. You do play one of the base form Yubel. All of this comes down to the fact that Phantom of Yubel is the most create a card that we've actually seen in quite some time. And when you're looking at how this deck operates, in the course of the meta, you shouldn't be surprised just to see, once again, I mean, you fit in the nice little, this one's playing a 5-card Fiendsmith package, you know, just one copy of the Tractus, which is fine. I mean, it's all just link one go. And that's also crazy. Like, you can basically turn any of your, you know, fiends into full Fiendsmith combo and go, this game is so crazy to see. Also, the double change of heart down there, that is actually kind of mind-boggling to see the power we're getting with that. Next up here is our Rescue Ace Turbo deck. Oh, just kidding. It's Fiendsmith Turbo. You do see the Lori and all that. You're playing 2 Tractus, so this is a built-in 6-card package. The OCG has Emergency limited to 1, which is kind of hilarious when you kind of think about this. But the thing that's making this deck back on the top of the meta is we're back at the point that this set 4 that this deck could actually do is very intimidating. And a lot of people actually, believe it or not, Yubel kind of has a problem dealing with the set 4 that this deck kind of sets up. So that tells you a completely different story in your meta that you might not be really used to hearing about. The full set 4, with like a full Fiendsmith combo sitting next to it, can be a little bit challenging for the course of the meta to decide, you know, if we can handle this, or, you know, are we just going to kind of fall to the wayside. So, very interesting. Now, your Tenpai builds out here. Oh, man. I'm not going to lie to you. Looking at the way that the Tenpai deck has kind of just turned into include 2 copies of good old Hydra in your deck. That's, well, the Special Summon Poplar. I know, I always forget his name. They do have the new trap card to skip the opponent's main phase 1 and force them into the battle phase. It doesn't, I don't really see that card all that much. It is a very cute tech, but it's just that I do see here, though, that this build is also citing the Azurune and the Top Hat Hatter bunny that can actually set it onto the field, which is very interesting to see that Tenpai is kind of getting some slightly more defensive plays. That wasn't on my bingo sheet, but I do like to see that. And I see that this build is also playing a Baron de Fleur. So you're telling me that Tenpai technology in the OCG is adapting Baron de Fleur now? Oh boy, no wonder why I got banned. Now, we have your Fire King build 1 here. Now, the reason why this Fire King build is so interesting is the fact that you do get access to that amazing promo card that gives you access to Old Garunix. Now, I personally don't think that Old Garunix is the greatest card in the world. I do think that it's enough for you to kind of look at and give some consideration to, but okay. Now, one of the things that I think makes this deck kind of interesting is you do see we are playing the Ye Olde Parallel Exceed in here as well. Exceed kind of gives this deck some very interesting gas, especially, you know, if you're able to get 2 of them on the field and then make the fire rank 4 down there. All right, you kind of start getting into some very interesting details out here. Oh, hey, look, another deck playing Summon Limit. Thank you, OCG, for proving to us why we needed to clean these cards up. And, of course, we have your basic Fire King build. Now, this is basically what you're used to seeing in kind of the TCG, where you got like the double Karen, the Ponix, and, of course, the 1 Garunix for floatability. This build also is opting to play 2 Drolls, which is kind of interesting. But you've also got the Fiendsmith package built into this. Just another day in the office for the Fiendsmith package. I mean, hey, you're splashing in, what, 5 cards for this build? It doesn't even count the extra deck stuff. That's a completely different creature. You do see the Angel with the Tears of Blue down there, that spell card. That card has been showing up quite a lot in side decks. I would continue to keep an eye on that. Outside of that, just the fact that, you know, you're able to bridge together all of these different engines and take full advantage of the meta is kind of crazy to me. I got to give it to the course of the meta. Like, it definitely does prove some craziness. And our last list here is Unchained. You know, it must be nice to still have 3 of the Fire Unchained monster at your disposal, you know, able to kind of toggle up through all of this. But once again, you see that we're playing Fiendsmith cards in this. This once again just proves like how stupid that this combo is in here. You know, 6-card dedicated package into the main deck with the Luri, still able to do everything that you want it to do. Side decking Patrons! Thank you! Ah!
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.